Follow Alice. Speak English properly, effectively, and smartly.
Hi everyone, this is Alice. When you are on the stage, have you ever regarded the audience as carrots, cabbage, or piece of wood? Has anyone ever told you that if you are nervous, take off your glasses or look at the audience's noses? If you don't look at the audience, you won't get nervous at all. Actually, these are all wrong. Among the 6 major elements in public speaking, many people would think that the speaker is the most important one. But the truth is, listener is always the most important element in public speaking. That's why we call public speaking as audience-centered speaking. So in today's class, we are going to talk about the importance of audience-centeredness. Always remember, public speaking is communication. If you don't regard your audience as human beings, how can you expect they would listen to you? Regarding your audience as vegetables or wood may help you forget about your nervousness for just a little while, but you will lose your audience and you will lose your passion in speaking. However, you may say, Alice, sometimes our audience won't listen to us. But before you start to blame our audience, ask yourself, are you satisfied with your speech? If you were the audience, would you like to listen to your speech? Everyone can talk as long as you are healthy. It is much easier to keep on talking and talking than speaking meaningfully. However, only when we speak properly, effectively, and smartly, our audience will listen to us willingly and attentively. If we just keep on talking and talking without thinking about what our listeners would like to hear, we can never make a good speech. In a word, audience-centeredness is the first step of a good speech. What's more, we have just learned that listening is very hard. Your audience can be hearing you, but they may not be listening to you. Therefore, you should not only make your speech meaningful, but make it easy and interesting to listen to. Before we know how to grasp the hearts of our audience, we need to analyze their psychology. Think about yourself. What do you do when listening to a speech? Do you always pay close attention? Do you receive the message all as the speaker says? We pay closest attention to messages that affect our values, beliefs, and well-being. This means that you must relate your messages to your audience, show how it appeals to them, explain why they should care about it. For example, most listeners would be attracted immediately by topics like how to lose 30 pounds in 7 days or how to become a millionaire overnight. But if the speaker says something like, today, I want to talk about the severity of SCLC, small cell lung cancer, most audience will do something like this. Confused, puzzled, asking, what's that? Why would I care? What does it have to do with me? But if the speaker says it in another way, today, lots of women are faced with an invisible killer, small cell lung cancer. They live a very healthy life, never smoke, but they are diagnosed with cancer anyway. And in this way, you just build a bridge to connect your audience values. Because even the audience are men, they have mothers, sisters, wives, or daughters. With this connection, your audience will want to listen and start to care about SCLC. In a word, to communicate with your audience, you need to get inside their experience. If you can do something like this in speaking contests, you can attract judges' attention and get comparatively high scores. To be more specific, how to analyze our audience, how to analyze our judges. When preparing for our speech, ask ourselves 3 questions: whom, what, and how. To whom am I speaking? What do I want them to know, to believe, or to do as a result of my speech? And how to compose and present our speech in an attractive way to achieve that goal. Now imagine if you are going to sell a lipstick to 2 groups of audiences, young girls and middle-aged males. What kind of information will you give them? How will you arrange your information? In which way can you attract them? Of course, you cannot say the same thing in the same way to them, right? Now, this is your homework for today's class. And you can practice this with your, classmates, friends, and even your daddies. Remember to use what we learned today, and good luck.
In this class, you should remember these important points.